Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we start in the Holy Qur'an translation by Muhammad Ali. Anfal, the voluntary gifts. Suratul Anfal. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, they ask thee about voluntary gifts. Say, voluntary gifts are for Allah and the Messenger, so keep your duty to Allah and set aright your differences and obey Allah and His Messenger. If you are believers, they are only believers whose hearts are full of fear when Allah is mentioned. And when His messages are recited to them, they increase them in faith, and in their Lord do they trust. Those who keep up prayer and spend out of what we have given them, these are the believers in truth, for them are with their Lord exalted grades and protection, and an honorable sustenance, even as thy Lord caused thee to go forth from thy house with truth. Though a party of the believers were surely adverse, disputing with thee about the truth, after it has become clear, as if they were being driven to death while they saw. And when Allah promised you one of the two parties that it should be yours, and you loved that the one not armed should be yours, and Allah desired to establish the truth by His words, and to cut off the root of the disbelievers, that He might cause the truth to triumph, and bring the falsehood to naught, though the guilty disliked, when you sought the aid of your Lord. So He answered you, I will assist you with 1,000 of the angels, following one another, and Allah gave it only as good news, and that your hearts might be at ease thereby, and victory is only from Allah. Surely Allah is mighty wise. When He made slumber fall on you as a security from Him, and sent down upon you water from the clouds, that He might thereby purify you, and take away from you the uncleanliness of the devil, and that He might fortify your hearts, and make firm your feet thereby. When thy Lord revealed to the angels, I am with you, so make firm those who believe, and I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve, so smite above the necks, and smite every fingertip of them. And this is because they opposed Allah and His Messenger, and whoever opposes Allah and His Messenger, then surely Allah is severe in requiting. And this taste it, and that for the believers is a chastisement of the fire. So, the cutting of the necks, the cutting off the necks and the fingertips and stuff in the battlefield is obviously, because this is the whole context of the thing. It's not even listed as a criminal punishment. It's when you're facing the wicked doers who have started the war, obviously, you're not supposed to injure them, or limit your injury to them when they're trying to take your life. That would be a ridiculous thing to expect of people, and taste it, that for the disbelievers, chastisement. And of course, the light beings taking part in the good good deeds, right? Oh, you believe when you meet those who disbelieve, marching for war, turn not your backs to them, and whoso turns his back to them on that day, unless maneuvering for battle or turning to join a company, he indeed incurs Allah's wrath, and his refuge is hell, and an evil destination it is. So you slew them not, but Allah slew them, and thou smotest not when thou didst smite, but Allah smote, and that He might confer upon the believers a benefit from Himself. Surely Allah is hearing, knowing this, and that Allah will weaken the struggle of the disbelievers. If you sought a judgment, the judgment has indeed come to you, and if you desist, it is better for you, and if you turn, we shall return, and your forces will avail you nothing, though they may be many, and that Allah is with the believers. O you who believe, obey Allah and His Messenger, and turn away. O you who believe, obey Allah and His Messenger, and turn not away from Him while you hear, and be not like those who say, we hear, and they hear not. Surely the vilest of beasts in Allah's sight are the deaf, the dumb, who understand not, and if Allah had known any good in them, He would have made them hear, and if He makes them hear, they would turn away while they are averse. O you who believe, respond to Allah and His Messenger when He calls you to that which gives you life, and know that Allah comes in between a man and his heart, and that to Him you will be gathered, and guard yourselves against an affliction which may not smite those of you exclusively who are unjust, and know that Allah is severe in requiting. And remember when you were few, deemed weak in the land, fearing lest people should carry you off by force, He sheltered you and strengthened you with His help, and He gave you of the good things that you might give thanks. O you who believe, be not unfaithful to Allah and the Messenger, nor be unfaithful to your trusts, while you know that your wealth and your children are a temptation, and that Allah is He with whom there is a mighty reward. O you who believe, if you keep your duty to Allah, He will grant you a distinction, and do away with your evils and protect you, and Allah is the Lord of the mighty grace. And when those who disbelieve devised plans against thee, that they might confine thee, or slay thee, or drive thee away, and they devised plans, and Allah too had arranged a plan, and Allah is the best of planners. And when our messages are recited to them, they say, we have heard. If we wished, we could say the like of it. And this is nothing but the stories of the ancients. And when they said, O Allah, if this is indeed the truth from Thee, then rain down on us stones from heaven, or afflict on us a painful chastisement. And Allah would not chastise them while Thou wast among them, nor would Allah chastise them while they seek forgiveness. And what excuse have they that Allah should not chastise them while they hinder from the sacred masjid, and they are not its guardians? Its guardians are only those who keep their duty, but most of them know not, and their prayer of the house is nothing but whistling and clapping of hands. Taste then the chastisement, because you disbelieved. Surely those who disbelieve spend their wealth to hinder from the way of Allah, so they will go on spending it. Then it will be to them a regret. Then they will be overcome, and those who disbelieve will be gathered together to hell, that Allah may separate the wicked from the good, and put the wicked one upon another, then heap them together, then cast them into hell. These indeed are the losers. Say to those who disbelieve, if they desist, that which is past will be forgiven them, and if they return, then the example of those of old has already gone, and fight with them until there is no more persecution. And all religions are for Allah, but if they desist, then surely Allah is seer of what they do. And if they turn back, then know that Allah is your patron, most excellent the patron, and most excellent the helper. And know that whatever you acquire in war, a fifth is for Allah, and for the messenger, and for the near of kin, and the orphans and the needy, and the wayfarer, if you believe in Allah, and that which we revealed to our servant on the day of discrimination, the day on which the two parties met, and Allah is possessor of power over all things. And, verse 35 is an interesting one, the prayer that's nothing but whistling and clapping of hands. There's a lot of people who think that playing musical instruments is like unto a prayer, and it counts nothing like that. And we also find that in a masjid, a musalla, you have the forbidding of the playing of the musical instruments. But the Qums is a state fund. It's not, that's what comes from war and stuff. It's not, charity is not allowable to the Prophet. And it's certainly not, the sheikh collects a fifth of everybody's income from henceforth. No, it's the spoils of war. But almost no war is fought by comparison because of the conditions preventing war. When you were on the nearer side, and they were on the farther side, while the caravan was in a lower place than you, and if you had tried to make a mutual appointment, you would certainly have broken away from the appointment, but in order that Allah might bring about a matter which had to be done, that he who perished by clear argument might perish, and he who lived by clear argument might live, and surely Allah is hearing, knowing, and when Allah showed them to thee in thy dream as few, and if he had showed them to thee as many, you would certainly have become weak-hearted, and you would have disputed about the matter, but Allah saved. Surely he is knower of what is in the breasts. And when he showed them to you, when you met as few in your eyes, and he made you to appear few in their eyes, in order that Allah might bring about a matter which had to be done, and to Allah are all affairs returned. O you who believe, when you meet an army, be firm, and remember Allah much, that you may be successful, and obey Allah and His Messenger, and dispute not one with another, lest you get weak-hearted, and your power depart, and be steadfast. Surely Allah is with the steadfast, and be not like those who came forth from their homes exultingly, and to be seen of mankind, and they hinder from the way of Allah, and Allah encompasses what they do. And when the devil made their works fair seeming to them, and said, none among mankind can overcome you this day, and I am your protector, but when the two armies came in sight of one another, he turned upon his heels and said, surely I am clear of you, I see what you see not, surely I fear Allah, and Allah is severe in requiting. And when the hypocrites, and those in whose hearts is a disease, said, their religion has deluded them, and whoever trusts in Allah, then surely Allah is mighty, wise, and if thou couldn't see when the angels caused to die those who disbelieve, smiting their faces and their backs, and taste the punishment of burning. And this is for that which your own hands have sent on before, and because Allah is not in the least unjust to His servants. In the matter of the people of Pharaoh and those before them, They disbelieved in Allah's messages, so Allah punished them for their sins. Surely Allah is strong, severe, and requiting. And this is because Allah never changes a favor which He has conferred upon a people until they change their own condition, and because Allah is hearing, knowing. See, we have to evoke and provoke ourselves if we want God to change things in our life. Now, God could be so merciful that we're unable, that certainly, things seem impossible, but we got to make the efforts and pray. In the manner of the people of Pharaoh and those before them, they rejected the messages of their Lord, so we destroyed them for their sins, and we drowned Pharaoh's people, and they were all wrongdoers. Surely the vilest of beasts in Allah's sight are those who disbelieve. Then they would not believe those with whom thou makest an agreement. Then they break their agreement every time, and they keep not their duty. So if thou overtake them in war, scatter by them and those who are behind them, that they may be mindful. And if thou fear treachery on the part of a people, throw back to them on terms of equality. Surely Allah loves not the treacherous. Indeed, divine God is not loving of the oath breaking. Yeah. You may not like a agreement that you've made, but you should keep your agreements. Now, agreements to do wrong are different things, but agreements that put you in difficulty aren't necessarily the same thing. But certainly if a treaty between countries is broken, the side that keeps it shouldn't have to continue to. It's like, well, let's let them continue to do violations, and we're not going to do anything. No, it kind of annuls the treaty, and you want to make announcements that that you've broken the treaty, I guess, or pact is done with, that sort of thing. And let not those who disbelieve think that they can outstrip. Surely they cannot escape, and make ready for them whatever force you can, and the horses tied to the frontier to frighten thereby. The enemy of Allah and your enemy, and others besides them, whom you know not, Allah knows them, and whatever you spend in Allah's way, it will be paid back to you fully, and you will not be wronged. And if they incline to peace, incline thou also to it, and trust in Allah, surely He is the hearer, the knower. And if they intend to deceive thee, then surely Allah is sufficient for thee. He it is who strengthened thee with His help, and with the believers, and He has united their hearts. If thou hadst spent all that is in the earth, thou couldst not have united their hearts, but Allah united them. Surely He is mighty wise. O Prophet, Allah is sufficient for thee, and those who follow thee of the believers. O Prophet, urge the believers to fight. If there had been of you 20 steadfast, then they shall overcome 200, and if there be of you 100, they shall overcome 1,000 of those who disbelieve, because they are a people who do not understand. Now Allah has lightened your burden, and He knows that there is weakness in you. So if there be of you 100 steadfast, they shall overcome 200, and if there be of you 1,000, they shall overcome 2,000 by Allah's permission, and Allah is with the steadfast. It is not for a people to take captives unless he has fought and triumphed in the land. You desire the frail goods of this world, while Allah desires the hereafter, and Allah is mighty wise. Were it not for an ordinance from Allah that had gone before, surely there would have been fallen you a great chastisement for what you were going to do. Eat then of the lawful and good which you have acquired in war, and keep your duty to Allah. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. O Prophet, say to those of the captives who are in your right hand, O Prophet, say to those of the captives who are in your hands, if Allah knows anything good in your hearts, He will give you better than that which has been taken from you, and will forgive you, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. And if they intend to be treacherous to thee, so indeed they have been treacherous to Allah before, but He gave mastery over them, and Allah is knowing, wise. Surely those who believed and fled and struggled hard in Allah's way with their wealth and their lives, and those who gave shelter and helped, these are the friends of one another. And those who believed and did not flee, you are not responsible for their protection until they flee. And if they seek help from you in the matter of religion, it is your duty to help, except against a people between whom and you there is a treaty, and Allah is seer of what you do. See, they wouldn't be keeping the treaty if they were persecuting the Muslim people. That would be an obvious point that would come up in any treaty to come. So, but there wouldn't be any reason to go against the people if they were not doing something worthy of war or something like that. And those who believe are friends of one another. If you do it not, there will be persecution in the land and great mischief. And those who believed and fled and struggled hard in Allah's way, and those who gave shelter and helped, these are the believers. Truly for them is a forgiveness and an honorable provision. And those who believed afterwards and fled and struggled hard along with you, they are of you, and the relatives are near one to another. In the ordinance of Allah, surely Allah is knower of all things. Well, obviously, if those that are persecuting, being aggressive, if they're not dealt with it at all, they may grow in their behavior, or they at least continue in their behavior. Now, some people may be guided, so I'm not saying that's not going to happen.